Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Devo with Bo O. Super glad you can be in with me, Laura. Glad you're up and ready to go. I love what Laura says too, that she was up at 2 in the morning on the southeast side of Tucson and it was covered in snow. I mean, that is a skier's. We love to hear those words, snow. And so I got to imagine there's going to be some good skiing for a while here in Tucson, and that's great. That is great news. Super excited about that. You know, it's always nice to go up to Flag and ski, but hey, staying here in Tucson, man, that's awesome. Hey, welcome to the Devo. My name's Bo, and we call these Devo with Bo O because Bo Willette is my name. Last name's Willette, and you can always check out the archives at the YouTube channel Bo Willette. Gone through a lot of the Bible already. I do a Devo that's a little longer than the 2-minute Devo or the 4-minute Devo or the, that kind of thing. It's a little longer, but it's because the Devo is actually going through the Bible. We're actually devoting our time to actually read the Bible. So it's what a concept. I know it's pretty radical. But that's what I did when I was 17, is started reading the Bible. And ever since then, I just found it best just to actually read it. And so instead of pulling things out and maybe just getting a little thing, just read it and get the flow of the Bible. And, there's so much to glean from how God is working in the lives of people when you just literally walk through it. You start going, oh, I see what's going on. I see why God does this. So many of the questions that people ask, where is God? Why doesn't God do this? Is all answered as you just read it. And, that takes some time. I guess you could listen to it nowadays, right? Just get it on audio and go. And but anyway, for me, reading's still pretty cool. What a cool thing to do. So chapter 5 of 1 Kings, Solomon. Solomon hooks up with a guy from Tyre, not too far from, if you will, Jerusalem. It's not a giant leap, just along the coast, going to the coast and going north to the area of Tyre and Sidon area. And it says King Hiram of Tyre had always been a loyal friend of David, and when Hiram learned that David's son Solomon was the new king of Israel, he sent ambassadors to congratulate him. My first thing that I think of this morning just in reading that little section is this. Isn't it cool when your parents' connections benefit you? Isn't that cool when your parents' connections benefit yourself? That's a good thing. That's a cool thing when that happens, right? David was friends with the king of Tyre, and they'd always had a connection together. And now this connection is going to be a benefit to Solomon. This always doesn't happen in everybody's life, but, if it does happen in your life, it's something to be thankful for. The different connections that maybe are there, the different support systems that might be present that benefit you, that really are because of your parents and the connections that they had. That's not something to just push aside lightly, but it's to be thankful for, because not everybody's got that for sure. And so, Hiram wants to send a delegation just to say, yo, Solomon, awesome. That's great that you're a king. And then Solomon sent this message back to Hiram. And he says, that my father David was not able to build a temple to honor the name of the Lord his God because of the many wars waged against him by surrounding nations. He could not build until the Lord gave him victory over all his enemies. But now the Lord my God has given me peace on every side. I have no enemies, and all is well. So I am planning to build a temple to honor the name of the Lord my God, just as he instructed my father, David. For the Lord told him, your son, whom I will place on your throne, will build a temple to honor my name. Okay, so Solomon breaks down that idea of, hey, like, the temple is to be built. And, he reiterates some of the older narrative, right, from 2 Samuel. That idea that David wanted to build it, but he wasn't the guy to do it. And for many reasons. But you know what? Solomon is. And, am I okay with, getting out of the way and knowing that other people are going to fulfill things that I would have loved to fulfill myself? And that's so true, right? There's things that maybe I want to fulfill or I have dreams of doing. But it's not for me to do. Not in my lifetime. Not for me. It might be for my kids. Someone else. Someone I'm working with, someone I'm discipling. Maybe it's going to be them that do it, right? And that's how it goes. I don't need to be doing everything and fulfilling everything. Yeah, I got dreams, and I'm sure you got dreams too. And, it's always neat when you're able to really fulfill something in your life. And, man, in my life, I feel super blessed, man. I've been able to do so many things and be so many things. It's just, it boggles my mind sometimes. And I'm just thankful for that. But I'm not going to do everything. Someone else is going to fulfill the things that I would have loved to fulfill. And I've seen that already in my life too, where someone who has taken over from me and done better and done, better in so many ways and really fulfilled everything that I was thinking of. And so that's kind of cool too, right? To see the progression of life, right? Kind of the generations. And they're, if you will, them doing good things, the next generation. Therefore, please command that cedars from Lebanon be cut for me. Let my men work alongside yours, and I will pay your men whatever wages you ask. As you know, there is no one among us who can cut timber like you Sidonians. Isn't that cool? See, the Sidonians had a special gift. Everybody's got a special kind of role to play, a special gift. And then, the Sidonians were just amazing at tree cutting. My family's from back in Maine, my mom and dad, paper mills, working with paper, and a lot of tree cutting, a lot of trees running down the Androscoggin River, getting ready to get into the mill. And the Sidonians were just of that sort. They just knew how to do it. They had a special knack for it. And Solomon knew that. And he wasn't prideful to say, hey, we got to do it. It's our temple. We're doing it. No, he relies on these other relationships to benefit him. And isn't that cool? Sometimes in business, sometimes with finances, we need other people to help us do things. Help us grow money, right? I can't do it on my own. Maybe I don't even know what I'm doing, right? But maybe those other people, they got a knack for that thing, man. They really know. And, if you've lived long enough in life, there's some people who just have a knack for making money. I mean, they can do it, and they're good at it. And then there's other people, kind of like myself, who just don't think about that much. And when I do, I kind of, it doesn't really register much in my brain. I'm kind of on other things. I'd pick up my guitar and start playing, or, I'm going to go jump on my skateboard and, do something like that. I tend to think like, in a sense, I don't know, still very youth oriented in many ways. So, but I rely on a lot of people for other wisdom, and what they think. So when Hiram received Solomon's message, he was very pleased and said, "Praise the Lord today for giving David a wise son to be king of the great nation of Israel." And he sent this reply to Solomon. So this was seen as a gesture of wisdom by the king of Tyre, that Solomon wasn't so, like, hey, us Israelites have to build this temple. Am I so prideful that I won't rely on other people? Am I so prideful that I won't listen to other people? Is that a problem, with me? And is that a problem with you? Do you have to do everything? Or can someone else, can you rely on someone else? That's something to think about, especially when it comes to our salvation. Is my salvation, my eternal destiny, dependent on me trying to do everything? Me trying to get to be in heaven, to have a heaven, to be in a place with God? Is that dependent on my ability? Or can I rely on someone to help me? Ooh, maybe I need a savior, right? I mean, God, I knew that when I was like 17, 18 years old. Like, maybe I'm a mess. Maybe I got the problem. Maybe something's wrong with me, kind of thing. And so maybe I need to depend on God, right? And not so much on myself. Yeah, that's it, right? We need to trust in the Lord. And that's where it's at. See, some people are so prideful. They're like, "Raw, no, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." Well, you can't do everything, man. You can't do it. You can't build a bridge. You don't know how. If you try, it's just going to collapse, right? And you try to build a bridge to God, to heaven, and you try to build your stairway to heaven, and it ain't going to hold you. It's going to collapse under the weight of your yuck, of your sinful yuck. And so, we need a savior. Okay, so I have received your message, and I will supply all the cedar and the cypress timber you need. My servants will bring the logs from the Lebanon mountains to the Mediterranean Sea and make them into rafts and float along the coast to whatever place you choose. Then we will break the rafts apart, and you can carry the logs away. You can pay me by supplying me with food for my household. Cool. So Hiram supplied as much cedar and cypress timber as Solomon desired. Wow, isn't that great? Solomon relied on other people who could do the job, and they certainly did abundantly above, right? And did the job. And when we rely on Jesus Christ, he supplies us abundantly. That's right. He supplies us abundantly everything we need, right? The things that he as our God, knows what we need at the time. He gives us that grace, right? And so it goes over that, right? So the Lord gave wisdom to Solomon, just as he had promised, and Hiram and Solomon made a formal alliance of peace. So this is all under that umbrella of that gift of wisdom, right? That gift of wisdom, seeking other counsel, seeking other people who can help out. And there was an alliance of peace. Sometimes peace is made when we can finally let others in and let others come alongside and help out. Peace is made that way instead of trying to do it all on your own. The King Solomon conscripted a labor force of 30,000 men from all Israel. He sent them to Lebanon in shifts, 10,000 every month. Wow, cool. Nice, wise thing to do. Divvy them up. Hey, you do this at this time, you do this, you guys go at this time. Each month a different crew on the scene working hard. And it says so that each man would be 1 month in Lebanon and 2 months at home. Oh, that's cool. They home, work on their houses, work on their families, right? Pops being back home, not gone for a long period of time. That's wise. Maybe it's not good for people to be away from their home for long periods of time. Maybe that is a recipe of disaster. It says Adoram was in charge of this labor force. Solomon also had 70,000 common laborers, 80,000 quarry workers in the hill country, and 3,600 foremen to supervise the work. At the king's command, they quarried large blocks of high-quality stone and shaped them to make the foundation of the temple. Wow. Are these the stones that actually people, the Jewish Orthodox, pray in front of, that you see today? Isn't that interesting? Where the old site of the temple stands, the foundations, there's just a little bit of rock left there, where the Orthodox rabbis pray, to. Have you seen that before? Where they kind of have that bouncing mode, kind of weird movement. You might think it's weird as they're praying and probably reading the Torah, but there's those rocks. And you look how big they are, right? And it's the old rocks. It's the only part, I think, that was not like toppled over, but it was the foundational part. And is that what's being talked about? These large quarried rocks, blocks of high quality stone, and shape them into make the foundation of the temple. Whoa, isn't that cool? We can get on a plane and go there and check this out. Men from the city of Gebal helped Solomon and Hiram's builders prepare the timber and the stone for the temple. Wow, so that's kind of how that chapter ends, with, this wonderful, hey, this is how the foundations were done. This is how the rocks were quarried and blah, 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 that kind of thing. And it's neat that we can get on a plane and go and see it for today. And, that's the great thing about the Bible. It's not some fairy tale. It's rooted in history. It's rooted in archaeology. Things that we can find, things that we can go to. You got a sure foundation. And when you're reading the Word and when you're trusting in what the Bible's saying, it's rooted in history. Man, there's some wonderful... a great solid rock that's underneath us, when we're studying the Bible and reading the Bible. And that should give us great confidence in our day, for sure. So, man, God uses Solomon, and takes that wisdom, and we see it in his ability to not do things himself, but really to delegate and to move into places of proper delegation. Not just random delegation, but he sees that his dad had a good relationship with this person, and that could really help out in this way. And so he sees the connections, and he's thinking through these things. Like I say, it's not just some random, blah, 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 I don't want to do it, so delegate it. No. It's not that at all. It's not the I don't want to do it, so someone else has to do it. No. It's thinking through things and discerning and saying, hey, yeah, I could do this, but there's someone who does it greater and better. And maybe if I get them involved with me in the project, we can be closer together. We can build a peaceful relationship. It's not giving it over to someone and then you're AWOL, you're out doing something you're not even to be seen because you're not invested in it. No, Solomon's totally invested in the project. He is totally there. See, wisdom says, I'm going to delegate, but I am invested in the project, a lot of times selfishness, fear, insecurity, that what looks like delegation, and then I'm absent, right? I'm out, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to do it. I'm too busy. I'm too, whatever. I don't want to be around those people. That's not of the Lord, so that's a fleshly thing, and so there's a lot of wisdom in what Solomon's doing. And we see the results for some peace, and we see the results is a beautiful togetherness of investment. And a lot of people involved, but Solomon right there invested in the work. So very cool stuff. Good for leaders, good for all of us to think through a little bit, devoting our life to God, helping us to see the gifts of other people and invite them into our life. Important. That's an important part of us as human beings, to do such a thing. So you guys have a great day, okay? Hey, let's get ready to go hit the slopes at some point, okay? We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.